So, I've been thinking about all this CS2 hoo-ha lately, and it got me thinking about one of the other greatest and smoothest game launches of our time. SimCity 2013. Ah yes, some similarities here. But no really, actually there are a few things that this game did do well. Yes, indeed it did. So I've dusted off the cobwebs to ask the burning question. Is SimCity 2013 better than Cities Skylines 2? Let's take a look at the top 8 things I think actually are better, starting with utilities. So a super useful thing compared to CS2 is you can actually see how many garbage bins are needing collection. And after spending a while in the last episode of Bris Vegas basically waiting and watching, it was refreshing to come back and see that you can easily track this, because I spend many hours in CS2 just watching the trucks mindlessly drive by all the places overflowing with garbage. I think this would be a pretty straightforward way to allow for easier troubleshooting of these things, and save you some time for more important things, like parks. In my opinion, the parks are some of the best parts about SimCity 2013. As we all know, we're still waiting for these assets and DLCs in CS2, especially if you already went ahead and bought the Ultimate Edition. So it was so much fun getting back in SimCity and plopping some hot air balloon parks, the Millennium Plaza, and of course, Plum Bob Park. So CS2, where are the parks? When are you giving me the parks? Are you getting me the parks now? A thing that can't be overlooked with SimCity 2013 is the size of the squares. I honestly think that if they had just made these squares bigger, the game may not have been such a fail for everyone, especially when you have so many of these fantastic assets. But on the flip side, one thing I think SimCity 2013 did do well, obviously out of necessity, but this concept of building up. These mega towers are not only cool to look at, but they provide you with much needed residential, shopping, education, or office space that you would have no way to fit in with these damn limited squares. I like how you can stack them in such a way that you see fit, determining the wealth of the levels, adding parks, and even being able to put solar panels on the top to boost your power supply. And speaking of expansion, I think this was the first game that had this concept of expanding outwards. So putting down a school and being able to add extension wings and etc. Obviously CS2 has followed on with this, but I also love that when you do this expansion in SimCity, you don't need to have it all directly connected to the building. You can put things within a certain radius, and it's a great way to fill out some of these little spaces around the place. And it also tells you how big a building can be expanded when you put it down in the first place, so you know what kind of space you need to leave around it. This would be so handy in CS2. Next, I thoroughly enjoy all the various ways you can make money in this game. As you can see, I'm completely loaded. In this city, I've started to focus on tourism and gambling. I love that you can actually put down things like an opera house or theater as well and actually run events. And you need to have a certain level of tourists to buy enough tickets, and you can make quite a few simoleons if you have enough people show up. And of course, the amazing theme parks and other landmarks based on real life places. And back to gambling, the casinos not only look super cool, but they're also a real moneymaker if you learn to balance them correctly. And you also don't just put in a casino and away you go. You need to do things like put down the gambling HQ and reach certain monetary goals in order to progress and build larger casinos or get access to things like entertainment for all the gamblers to enjoy. So being able to focus on certain industries and build them out intentionally with their own HQs and profit margins you have to hit. I think this would be a fun addition to the gameplay of CS2. Trade is another great way to make money in this game, and for example, you can put down recycling plants, harvest some alloy and plastic, and then use a trade port to export it. You can even hoard some of these things in the trade depot to build processors and eventually use these to create smart TVs and computers. This is a great way to make money while you're building the city, because man, another downside to SimCity 2013 would be that everything is so dang expensive. But I suppose at least there is some challenge to this, unlike CS2 where it seems way too easy to manage the budget. Now onto the academy, I like that you can actually do some research, but you need to maintain certain levels of sims to have enough brain power to conduct said research. In CS2 you do need to maintain education for things like having skilled workers and the like, but again some kind of intentional focused effort on running this research. They use this concept in the universities as well, and I think it just gives this extra element to these buildings, where you're not just educating people, but you're intentionally researching various things that you then want to build in your city, like solar amplifiers, garbage destroyers, or of course maglev. And finally, the one thing that SimCity 2013 does that I don't know many or or any other main city builders do is this concept of region collaboration. Of course, in SimCity 4 and even in CS2, these things seem to happen relatively naturally. At least in SimCity 4, you actually had to build stuff in the other cities to be able to collaborate, unlike CS2. But in SimCity 2013, you can actually have other people, real people, claim and build cities, and control at a more specific level what you're exporting and importing from them, down to individual garbage trucks or ambulances. You can even help create a great work site that all the cities in the region can benefit from, like a solar farm or international airport. Again, it's all just about adding that extra element of fun, and this could have been such a great addition to CS2. So let me know, what do you think? Are there any other aspects from past games you'd love to see in CS2? Are you just dying to get back into playing some SimCity right now? Although, if you're still craving some CS2 action, you can check out my last video here. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, thanks, bye.